Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing today? All right, awesome. I'm super excited to be here. Let me first off by saying welcome to the ninth annual CBA Festival. My name is Donna Walters. I am a senior here in the College of Business Administration. I'm also an alumnus for the film festival project that you're about to see, so I participated last year, and I'm also the MC for today's event. So the films we will watch today are produced by teams of HR students. They are taking a special topics class in leading with emotional intelligence, and it's taught by our very own Professor Hakan Usulik. So I'm really excited to see what everybody has come up with. I know that when I had participated last year, this was just such an amazing event and a lot of fun. But before we start, I would like to remind everybody on a couple of items here. So please register for the event at the welcome desk if you have not already done so. The event is being recorded, so if you do not wish your picture and your video to be taken, please let the recorders know. They have some right there at the back of the room and then over here as well. Please turn off your cell phones. And then if you're in your program, you're going to see a mini survey. If you would please take a moment of your time to just fill it out, return it back to the registration desk at the end, we would really appreciate your feedback. Also, to hear more about our events, please send an email to the email address indicated on the program. And if you have any other questions, then we can always direct that as well. So now I'd like to invite Professor Usulik up here to do his welcome speech.
What a great day. I welcome you to the 9th annual CBA Film Festival. It's been 9 years, and if everything was recorded, this would have been consecutive. It's been 8 years, it's been 7 years, it's been 9 years now, and I'm so excited. We've got about 51 film projects that's been produced and presented to more than 1,200 people. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what brings this project together, that it's become sustainable and it's become enjoyable. Some people have been in this room for 9 years in a row. Just to give you a little background information, or also for those of you who are here for the first time, and then talk about a recognition that we have received for this project along with some others, and also our pedagogical basis, power basis for this project, because this is a great learning experience. We will be all learning today. And I'll also talk a little bit about our continuous improvement efforts and talk about the subsequent steps and this year's film projects. So, factors that help this project flourish. This is a little habitat that we have created on campus. So many people from many different pockets of the campus are every year getting together in a virtual network to make this happen. The technical training, Ms. Corinne Matos and the Technology Center, the Academic Information Resources Center, who actually trains our students for filmmaking, film editing. The artistic training, my great friend, Ms. Elizabeth Naziado from NK Media, she comes every year to train our students in film and theater acting, which is a great learning resource for them, because nonverbal communication is a huge part of what we do in business. And I'm grateful for her contributions to our students' education in those whole 9 years. She's been with me all on the road. And our administrative support, the sponsor of this event and all these goodies, our Dean, William Cordero. And Bill has been with us for more than a year now, and if you ask me to describe him as a dean, his qualities, the first thing that comes to my mind is he genuinely cares about our students, and you can see that in a lot of the behaviors. And if you ask me, one thing that I really love and enjoy about him is that he's sincerely interested in this project. Not only that he supports it, we talk about it. He asks about what kind of films we're producing, how things are going, so he's always been on board, and he's sitting right there in the middle, quietly. So thank you. Mr. Doug Evans, who helps with the promoting event, and Miss Angela Park-Gerard, who is sitting on the same row, who's been with this project for 9 years in a row, another person, and Miss Elizabeth Steiner, who's been helping with organizing the events. And this year, every year we take one step to improve this project. And this year what we are doing is we are combining what we have done last year, which was a little studio setting with fewer audience, and then everything recorded in a film festival event. This year, we are moving this to a large auditorium, so you've got this large audience, and also a great team that has literally created a studio setting here to record the whole event. And also, as you'll see, we'll have a surprise. This is a global classroom right now. We'll be connecting with our commentator in a minute to the other part of the world, thanks to the Mr. Steve McKay, Mr. Jeff Medlicott, Ms. Valerie Migetto, Mr. Rosa Mungia, and Ms. Susan Pikowski. They are the greatest team on this campus, I would argue. So let's give hand to all of them. And we've got our great jury panel sitting in the front row, and I'm not going to get into all the names. If you can check the program at the back of the program, you would see how tremendous our jury panel is, how diverse, from 4 different colleges, and artists, and executives, and public administrators. So would you please give a hand to our great jury panelists sitting in the front row. They will be judging the films, and we'll have a little Oscar moment at the end because we'll have a Best Film Awards. And this trophy will go to the best film winners for a few minutes because I get it back. We cannot afford creating a trophy every year. So they get their picture taken, they'll get their certificate signed by the dean and myself, but we'll get this back. It's like, it's changed. There are some hands sitting in here, actually, that hold this a few years ago. And our great commentary panel, research and practice, and I'll get to that later in our event. The last but not the least, what makes this project real is our students. We are the only business school in the world that does this. And we are the only business school that has been doing this for 9 years in a row. So something is magical here, and that is the creativity of our students and how actually they can commit themselves to a project if that project is in their top of their list. So as a professor, you have to be in your students' top of the list. And this project, I think, was on their top of the list. Our students can go the extra miles if they are involved in a project. They are very smart, very creative, and they, as you'll see in a moment, they really raise the bar every year for the students coming after them with the level of insights that they bring into in this project. So let's give hand to all our students. Would you please just stand up? We've got some hidden talents sitting in this room, as you'll see in a minute. They've never done acting before, and some of them are like great talents, I'm telling you. And as I mentioned, we are improving our project every year, and one thing that makes this project really flourish this year is our commentator, who is right now watching us from Israel. Good evening, Haifa. I'll do the Eurovision thing. Professor Anat Rafaeli.
Good evening, everybody. Nice to be with you, virtually be it.
I know Anat for more than 20 years, even before I started doing my PhD. Anybody who reads a few pages about emotional labor would have to see her name if they are reading it from a great source. Anat literally reinvented the emotional labor concept in our field with her 1987 study when she was a postdoc at Berkeley, that very intriguing study about the cashiers and how they do emotional labor work. So she's here with us today to provide a commentary on the films. She got the films about a week ago. We did our rehearsal for the technical connections. And I would like to let you know, it's about 1 a.m. in Haifa right now. And Anat and I talked about this in summer when I was in Turin. We were invited in an emotional labor panel in Italy. And I talked this, I invited her. I was very cautious. Would you like to come in? And then I said, let's talk more about it in Boston. So at the academy we met for, it was supposed to be an hour meeting, but we met for 2 hours. And she says, yes, I'm coming. The only thing is, I cannot be there physically, it has to be virtual. And my second condition is it has to be interactive. So I came back and ran to Steve McKay and I asked him, can we make this interactive? So this is the first time we are having an interactive event with the leading professor on emotional labor on earth connecting with us from Tel Aviv, and she'll be with us. So let's give a big hand to her. And I want to hear a few words from you, Anat. Would you like to say a few words to our audience?
I was just saying that I'm clapping to you as the inspiration behind this lovely project and to all the students who did this lovely work. Since
Thank
I
you.
have the privilege of seeing the films already, I understand the audience is going to see them right now.
Yes.
And it was really fun to watch.
You are one of the 3 people who have seen all the films now. Me,
What a privilege.
my son, and you. Well, I think he's sitting somewhere. He just came. Anyways, so she will be our virtual commentator after the film presentation. Thank you, Anat.
Okay.
So I want to mention something really cool. CSU started giving out awards since last year, an inaugural award of what's called CSU Innovation Leadership Award. And last year, out of 366 nominations, 26 awards, faculty members were awarded. And thanks to our film festival project, along with our CBA organization, Wisdom Studio projects, we were one of the recipients of this award. So I got literally the biggest award physically. It's like a few pounds. I was in San Diego and got the award from our Chancellor White. And it's not my award, it's our award. And I'll bring it every year to acknowledge the people behind it. So please give a hand to everybody who made this happen. And then we've also been featured teaching in a higher ed broadcast and everything. So we are getting a lot of traction. So a little bit about our projects. There are 4 elements of our structure here, which is the power of theory, power of films, power of festival, and power of studio. Whenever you say theory, for most people, the first reaction is boring. You know, what's theory? And yet it's not. Theories are great. If we make them as simple as possible and as smart as possible, theories are our only source to make predictions about our future, unless we are fortune tellers, and we couldn't become one for thousands of years. So theories are the only resource to make predictions about our future. So accordingly, a good theory should be practical, and it should also make good predictions. Good theories help us recognize patterns, make predictions, see relationships, and improve practices. The other aspect of this project is the power of filmmaking. With filmmaking comes storytelling, and our students had to move the plot in every film that they make. That really pushes them for the boundaries, to push the boundaries in those theories. And they do that by using their imagination. Einstein once has said, imagination is more important than knowledge. Knowledge is limited. Imagination encircles the world. Anybody can learn, any one of us can learn about emotional labor by Googling it in the next minute now, right? The knowledge is that much in abundance. However, imagination, I would argue, is going on the other direction. We need to start using our imagination to understand knowledge and to make it real for our lives, and also push the boundaries of knowledge. And filmmaking helps us doing that. Power of festival. Festival is a word that comes from Latin, festivus. It means happy, what we are right now. And it's a periodic celebration of entertainment, what we are doing right now. And also, it's a great way to bring people together, not only from campus, but off campus, our students, faculty, executives, employees, and alumni who are sitting in this room to learn. Power of studio. We have turned our classroom into a studio right now. And studio is a new trend, pedagogical trend right now in the world. It implies a workspace. Our students literally used our classroom as a workspace. And also, they really produced their materials to show to public, and which is also now literally being recorded in a studio setting. So there is something powerful about studio, and personally, I'm intrigued by that. And I can spend the rest of my career to pursue what else we can do by using the studio approach. And future steps. We really want to improve our event every year. I don't know what's coming out next year now, because we are just done now for this year's event. But I know what's happening next week. Today, on November 21st, 1:30 p.m., across the hall in High Auditorium, we are having our second CBA Organizational Wisdom Studio, another interdisciplinary event that focuses on emotions and also exploring emotional energy in entrepreneurship. So you will get out an invitation tomorrow in your emails with an RSVP. Continue the discussion. Please come by next week so we can continue the conversation there. And from our first CBA Organizational Wisdom Studio event, we've produced some videos that are coming out next year for your usage. It's about how we can use anger more wisely in our work relationships. About today's film projects. As I mentioned, I raise the bar every year. So this year, I push my students even further to create more empathic moments. Instead of just a comedy, our students actually created some empathic moments between an employee and a leader to show us how a leader can act emotionally in an emotionally intelligent way to help their employees. This is a billion-dollar question, and they're seeking out some answers. And not only that, we raised the bar one more level up, and by asking our students to look at all that within emotional labor context, which is something that we'll be all learning about today. And each team were given one problem, that a theoretical and practical problem that they needed to address, such as how can creating empathic relationships enable a leader to better utilize the path called fear of leadership to help emotional labor employees move from loneliness to joy. It took them about 2 weeks to decompose that, understand it, and then wrote a script on it, create a problem, and then find a solution, and then from there to provide some insights about emotional labor. Emotional labor is something that's becoming a phenomenon in American economy and around the world. It's basically regulating our emotions to fulfill job requirements while interacting with others. We see that in restaurants, in healthcare, in retail, in tourism, in finance, in public sector. It's a big phenomena, and not only that, it's a phenomena that affects employees. We know from research that if you are smiling 8 hours a day without feeling it, to your customers, it is exhausting. It's stressful, it reduces performance, and it leads to turnover. So what can we do to help emotional labor employees? This is our major focus for today. Our students got their sessions. First of all, we trained each other about emotional intelligence. They designed some HR training programs to teach each other about emotional intelligence. There are some great future HR managers sitting in this room. So if you are interested in hiring, keep an eye on them after the event. So here they are talking about, how you can read your own emotions, how happiness affects work relationships, and we did our acting training with Elizabeth Nanziato, so they learned about the basics of acting. And then we did the writing process. Again, Elizabeth came for another day to help students with screenwriting. And then film editing, Corinne taught our students how to edit the films with Camtasia Studio and bring the films together. And now, enjoy the show.
Hello, we're the Emotional 8, and we're so excited for everyone to see our film today. The leadership theory we're focusing on is the path-goal theory of leadership that suggests that leaders should better adjust their style to match employees' needs and task characteristics. In our film, we will utilize this theory to explore how an emotionally intelligent leader, who is usually directive, can manage to effectively lead his employees by clarifying his intentions as a person without necessarily changing his style to meet the relational needs of his employees.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Stacy, I need to set up room 2 for root canal. Tammy, the X-ray machine could use a good cleaning. Diana, we need more gas and current swap in room 3.
Got it. Good morning, Dr. Curtis.
Oh, good morning.
I am in the greatest mood with all this bright sunshine.
Oh, that's great.
Here we go again. Here we go again.
I don't know.
Hi, Dr. Prentice.
Leonor, there are a few things I need you to take care of today. The bill John Johnson, $1,000 for root canal and crown, and call Rita to inform her that we need to reschedule her 2 weeks from today.
I really hope I can get all this done today. He's going into so much detail. He must not believe I can do this on my own. Why doesn't he just replace me already? No one really gets me here anyway. Maybe I should just quit.
Leonor,
Oh wait,
do you
he's
need me to
talking. I
repeat
should probably
anything?
listen. No, I'm all good. I'll get started right away.
Alright, great. Hey ladies, has Leonor reached out for help with anything? Are there any issues going on with everyone I don't know about?
I cannot think of anything. Whenever we ask her if she needs any assistance, she always says she's good.
Yeah, there's no issues around here. We're like family, a well-oiled machine. You give the orders, we comply.
Definitely.
Alright, that's great. That's great.
Ugh, they're probably laughing about me right now. How come nobody likes me here? My friends like me. My family likes me. Even the neighbor's dog Gerald likes me.
Go and sit down.
Hi, John.
Hi.
It's nice to see you again so soon.
Yeah, you know,
Oh, hi. Hi, baby John.
Yeah, just go ahead and sit down,
Baby
watch the
Janet.
videos, okay?
No June, Julia, Jane? or
No,
Laura
everyone's
today?
at their moms at the moment. I don't really have an appointment today, but I got charged. I got this bill. I'm not sure if it's correct. You want to take a look at it?
Sure. Oh, it does seem like a lot, but that's not my expertise area, so let me grab the billing specialist for you.
Okay.
What seems to be the problem, John?
Well, you see, I got this bill for $10,000 for a root canal, and I need to get the procedure done, but I'm a single father with 7 kids. Is there any way you could like reverse the root canal?
Excuse me. I really need to talk to somebody. I've been waiting here for 12 minutes, and I have a very important meeting to get to. I have to deliver an earth-shattering pitch. This is my moneymaker, girl. I need to have my teeth dazzling white.
I'm actually talking to a patient right now. Could you wait just a little bit longer and I'll get you.
This is unacceptable.
Hi, Karen. I do apologize for you waiting. Let me grab Dr. Prentice for you. Go ahead and have a seat, and I'll be right with you.
I just really
It's
need
okay,
to.
baby. I'm here. Hi, Karen.
Hi, doctor.
I'm ready to take care of that beautiful smile. You can go ahead and wait for me in the room number 3.
Thank you.
I'll be back shortly.
Hi.
Sorry about the confusion. We'll send you a new bill with the $1,000, I believe. That's the correct amount.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't
my-
worry about it.
I
I
was-
believe it was just a typo that caused the confusion.
Yeah, I was so worried because I would have to take all 7 kids to all of their mom's houses, and I just don't have that kind of time.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Thank you, doctor. Thank you. Come on, John Jr. Where we go?
Excuse me, Luna. Thank you.
You know, if you don't mind, I'd love you to take you for lunch today.
Oh no, he's definitely gonna fire me now. Why is he gonna take me out to lunch for it? He should just save his money. Well, at least I get severance pay.
Leonor, I want you to know that you're an incredible, important member of our team, and the value add to the office cannot be overstated.
Wow. Thank you.
I want to make sure I'm doing everything I can to make you feel successful, and I haven't found on how to do that. And I've noticed you've been acting differently the last few months. So please help me out getting to the root of the problem and be honest with me.
Here goes nothing. Well, I guess I have been feeling a little like I'm on the outside looking in lately. Like my job is pretty repetitive, like I do the same things every day. But I feel like you don't think that I can do my job well. So maybe that's why I've been feeling a little like maybe disconnected or lonely.
You know, I'm a fairly serious person. I always have been. My direct communication works for everyone else, but I'm not feeling supported. I just want to let you know. Just want to let you know that everyone likes you at the office and want to help you. Were you offered any help, or were you refusing?
Well, sometimes when I'm offered help, I do refuse it.
All your coworkers like you and want to help you, myself included. I'm a directive person because our line of work requires that, not just because you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing a good job.
Oh wow. This did not go how I expected at all. I really thought you were going to fire me.
No.
I was already mentally packing my stuff.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Dr. Prentice.
Eleanor, you've been doing a good job recently. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
I'm so excited we're going out to lunch.
Me too. Thanks so much for helping with the reports this morning.
You know, I'm always happy to help. And something's changed about you this month, Lenore. It seems like you've really gotten to the root of the problem.
And so Lenore transitioned from loneliness to joy in the workplace and lived out the rest of her days full of joy.
Hello, we are Team Crazy 8. In our film, we explore the leadership member exchange theory as it relates to the emotions fatigue and excitement with the context of emotional labor.
Leader-member exchange theory argues that out-group employees tend to receive less attention and resources from the leader as compared to the in-group employees, which in turn negatively affects their well-being and performance.
Our film explores how managers who are over-invested with in-groups relationships may unintentionally overlook the very basic needs of out-group employees, who eventually feel fatigued.
We also illustrate how a leader's emotionally intelligent behaviors can improve these problematic relationships with their employees, and thus get them excited about their job. Enjoy the show.
Can I help you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm Chad.
All right, you're the new hire?
Yeah.
I'm Logan. Follow me.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name again?
Chad.
All right, Chad. Where'd you work before here?
Lenny's Cafe.
Okay. Well, kitchen, tables. You got the gist. Good luck.
Is this ready?
Yep, all for you. Great service.
Wow, thank you.
Yep.
Wow. Lisa, guess what? What, Mindy? I just got an $100 tip from a table outside. $100? Yeah, look at all this. It was only $40 and they left me $140. Oh my gosh, I'm so proud of you. You've come such a long way. Thank you. I've been going through such a hard time and this really made my day. Oh, that's amazing. I'm so proud of you. And you know what? This brings you so much closer to employment. I know. I've been trying so hard to get it. It's literally my passion. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. How have you been doing, by the way? I've been okay, kind of like rough, but this tip totally made my day better. I'm so excited.
this week we did get our vendors for our food squared away.
Don't worry about the time off on the honeymoon. You can have whatever time you want.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you guys are getting married, so it's at least I can do. My weekend was good. I just stayed home and played with my cats all day. Tinkerbell and Snowball.
Tired there, bro, huh? No, man. Lisa's just been a little occupied with food. Yeah, that's all.
That's how it goes.
Okay. Oh, all right. We're gonna get that right now. Sorry about that. That's right at the state. Cool. Okay. Right up, I swear. Okay, we can get it there. Not the chicken. Get it on the taco. Okay. Hold on 1 second. Tacos. Tacos. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. Tacos right here. Okay. You all good here? Everyone set?
Waiter.
All right. Forks. Okay. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah. Sorry.
Actually, I don't want to order anything
Uh-huh.
right now.
Okay.
So can you take the diapers and clear from the trash? And I don't
Diaper.
have time. Yeah.
Okay.
Just thank you very much.
Okay.
And then I need to take the baby too because I have an interview to get
All right.
to.
I don't know. We have a couple customers.
No, it's okay. You can take the baby.
Okay.
You got that.
Just 1 second.
You got it.
All right.
Thank
all
you.
right. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Good luck on your interview.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So how are you doing? I've been doing good. Honestly, all your support at work has been really helping me. Yeah, I don't know what I'd do without you. Like, you help me run my food, you help me get my first rounds, you give me all the best tables. It really, like, I'm going through such a hard time right now, and I wouldn't be able to work here if it wasn't for you. I just want to support you however you need. So if you need anything else, just let me know, okay? Honestly, you've been like a big sister to me. I really wouldn't have been able to do any of this past 2 weeks, especially with my breakup, if you weren't so kind. Oh, I'm glad. Oh my goodness, are you okay?
Yeah. Sorry. I'm so sorry.
No,
about
don't
that.
worry. Are you okay?
Yeah.
What
Absolutely.
happened?
I stumbled a little bit. I'm sorry.
Do you need anything?
You know what? I think I could just really use a little bit of training.
Okay, how about I partner you up with Mindy? She's been here forever. I think she could train you and show you how to do everything.
That'd be awesome.
Well, first, let's get you cleaned up. Okay. Now that you're ready to go out on the floor, I'll teach you how to carry the plate. So first, you want to have 3 fingers, use it as a tray. I was really surprised how well you did, especially like for your first day and coming from a Chad. We haven't had the best luck with Chads.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
did that a lot.
I feel it. Oh my gosh.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Hi.
Hey.
Chad, you should take him.
Hey.
Chad will help you out.
Hey, just come right this way. Follow me. Sweet. Let's go.
I gotta go yell at these girls, man, all right? All right, man, take it easy. All right, ladies, we are doing layups. Let's go!
It's 6 a.m. and he's already yelling.
Can I just get started, man?
So as you may know, we've been losing, and I don't like losers. Jay! Why are you late and why are you not at gym time?
Girl, I just pulled up to practice. My coach already angry. Let me hit you later. Were you saying something?
Get on the court. Let's go! Flip up! Move it! Let's go! Let's go! Practice was terrible and we have a big game tomorrow. I do not want to lose. I do not like losing. Okay? You three practice just like how you play. Terrible. All right, ladies. One on me. 1 on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Practice. I've been averaging 20 a game. What more does he want from me?
Honestly, you're a great player. He sucks at coaching. Like, all he does is yell at us. Like, when we win, we lose, it doesn't matter. He yells.
So let's talk about these recent few games. You guys feel like you haven't played a game of basketball in a day of your lives. And I'm tired of losing, and it's irritating me. Vicky, who shoots like that?
Listen, if you weren't yelling all the time, I would make my shots. I'm sorry, I just can't yell when, I can't make it when you're yelling in my ear. Does that make sense?
It makes sense to me, but if you want to be the best and win, you gotta get used to my style of coaching. You need to get used to my style of coaching if you at least want to win a game. Have you seen these last few seasons? Have you seen these last few seasons? So what am I supposed to do? Tell me, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
Try hard.
You try harder. You try harder. You're the one playing the game. I can't play this game for you. We're gonna go and practice, and what you guys are gonna do, you guys are gonna practice how you play. Terrible. You understand that? I've said this 1,000 times. You guys need to step it up. Because I'm not having these last few seasons again.
Hey AD, thanks for agreeing to meet with me today. I just wanted to talk to you about Coach Miles because I've been a little concerned about the way he's been treating us players, and I can't really take his criticism, so I would like to quit the team.
Why would you want to quit the team? I would go and talk to Miles, and because I heard people saying stuff about him about how he's treating players bad, and I heard from the coaching staff saying that he's been treating the players bad, and he's not really taking into consideration your guys' feeling. So I'll go talk to him about it, and I'll tell you what happens afterwards.
Thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today, AD.
Come in! Thanks for coming in.
Okay.
Look, Miles, I called you in today because I wanted to talk to you about your performance. The last 2 seasons have been absolutely pathetic, and your leadership style does not fit well with our team. It's mostly because of your aggression.
I mean, despite the fact that I may have an aggressive style of coaching towards this team, I still want the best for them. I mean, it's not like I don't care. It's just, I don't know. These girls they just don't listen.
Hi, as you know, I'm Mario.
Coach Jim, nice to meet you.
So as you know, we have a coaching vacancy here, and I just wanted to know what your coaching style is all about.
So I'm a really players first coach. I'm about having fun and winning games. I'm really demanding, and it's discipline, but I want everyone to have fun, and really, I put the players first. I want to make sure that they're taken care of, and that translates to winning games. If no one's having fun, we're not going to win.
You know what? That's exactly the type of coach I'm looking for. You're hired.
Okay, I'm looking to turn this program around.
Nice pleasure having you. Hey girls, this is your new coach.
Hey ladies, I'm Coach Jim. I'm here to replace Coach Miles. Heard he was kind of hard to play for. I'm gonna be honest, we're gonna have fun, try to win some games. I'm a player's first coach, so I'm looking forward to see what we can do.
Yeah, playing for Coach Miles was like really difficult. I haven't been enjoying basketball as much, and you know what? I'm pretty sure we all feel the same way.
Yeah, same. He was always yelling.
Yeah, Jade, I heard you were going to quit the team, but if you would give me a chance, see how you like playing, I would love to keep you on the team.
Girl, can you freaking believe it?
Dude, I
We
know.
really got another one. Let's go!
Feels good to win some games again, huh?
It does. I haven't felt this happy in a while.
That was super exciting, Coach. Thanks.
Yo, I can't believe you won!
Ladies, it's been a great season. We've had a complete turnaround. It's nice to win some games. Thank you for allowing me to be your coach and really buying into the vision of playing hard, playing with discipline, but most importantly, having fun and playing with joy. Jade, thank you for staying with the team the whole season. I know you were really ready to quit, but I hope it paid off that you still with the team. This is for you.
Thanks for allowing me to be a part of your team, Coach, and for teaching me how to have fun while playing basketball again. Good season, you guys.
Winners on me, winners on 3. 1, 2, 3, win!
As long as he's won. It's great. I love it. Hope it actually is.
Hey guys, can I have your attention real quick? So this is Mo. He was newly hired here, and he's gonna be working with us today. So can you guys give him a round of applause real quick?
Hey, man.
So this is Mo.
Hey, nice to meet you, Pete. Nice meeting you, Mo. So I've heard a lot of things about you from Matthew, that you're like a role model. You've been working here for so long, and I'm really excited to learn things, and I love to ask questions, and so it's important to have someone like you here who I can rely on. So thank you, and nice meeting you.
Oh, no problem. I've been working for 7 years. I've been promoted as a manager, training manager. And any questions, any help or concerns you have, come ask me without hesitation or anything.
I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Is there anything else I can help you out, ma'am? Okay, ma'am. It was a pleasure helping you out. Have a great day.
So sorry to bother you. I just have a customer on the phone, and I forgot how to file a claim for the person. Can you tell me?
You can do it online. Come on. But before that, you guys open the claim.
I have to do that online?
Yes.
Okay.
First open the claim.
And then he can go and do it. Okay. Online. Okay. Sounds good. Sorry to bother you again. I just totally forgot. I'm sorry. No problem. Hey, so sorry to bother you guys. I just have a question. Hey, so I have someone on the line. They want to change their home address, and I really don't remember how to do that. Could you help me? I'm sorry. So you know that customer that I was talking to you about? He gave me so much trouble, but with your help, I was glad to help him. I'm also having a lot of trouble with
Your dog got behind the wheel and drove into a pond. Let me see if we can cover that.
Hey Pete, I know you're on your line break, and I know you told me this multiple times, but I keep forgetting how to follow.
Dude, are you serious? I'm on lunch right now.
I'm sorry. I have a customer on the line.
Come on, dude.
Can you just tell me real quick?
No.
I won't forget this time. I swear.
Okay. Well, open the file online. Then after that, you give them like the claim number.
Okay.
Then they could fill it out online.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
No.
Dude, this is gonna be the last time. I'm sorry. This is the last time.
It better be the last time.
Pete. Hey, I'm having trouble with the claim again. Do you mind helping me? Please, I'm sorry. I know I asked you something. That's it.
You're doing good, but the only thing that irritates me about, and I'm like almost done, and I just want to, go back to my normal job, just being no manager, just being car representative. That's pretty much it. Because I'm tired and irritated with Mo asking me the same constant questions all over again. You tell me about this. I was in the bathroom. Who do you think came in? Asking for assistance. Mo. Waiting the files, telling him how to file a claim. Come on. That's my privacy. I'm going to be using the restroom.
So I started the same position as you are when I first started working here. And then I was promoted to a training manager, and eventually I'm at where I am. So everything you've been through, I've been through the same thing. And understand it's tough. And there's definitely a lot of trials along the way, but if you stick it through, I think that since I was able to do it, I think you will do just as fine.
Okay, I see your point, Matthew. It's he's got to be patient. Just looking at it the way you're explaining it to me and stuff. He's got to be patient, and sometimes he's new. I understand that. You don't learn stuff from in one day or in 1 month. Some people learn at a different pace, and I'm just gonna take your advice and see where it goes.
Okay. Thanks for this meeting.
No, thank you, Matthew. Hey there, Mo. I just want to apologize for the way I acted towards you. And I know that people don't learn things overnight. So I want you to feel free to ask me any questions you might have, because I'm here to help you out.
Well, thank you for those words. It means a lot that you see that potential in me, and I really do want to apologize for irritating you so much, going as far as to taking your break time when you're in the bathroom. And I'm sorry, but again, I really appreciate that. It means a lot to me that you see that I could be the next you, and I want to work towards that. So I appreciate it, and your words make me feel more enthusiastic to come to work. So thank you.
No problem.
Okay, now is the time to acknowledge the stars in the room. As I read the team's names, would you please just stand up to get acknowledged? Team Emotional 8, the producers of No Hard Feelings. Team Crazy 8, the producers of The Tip. Team Golden Gate Films, the producers of For the Love of the Game. And the last but not the least, Team Emotional Undergrads, the producers of The Newbie. So now we are moving towards the forum, the panel and commentary part of our program. And first, I would like to introduce our co-moderator, Ms. Elizabeth Nanziato, the acclaimed actor, director, and producer, the best actress in town. You should see her shows in BC Theater. A creative partner with award-winning Yankee Media, a film and media production company. As I mentioned, a dedicated supporter for training our students for 9 years in a row. So please welcome Elizabeth. And we have also have a live panelist today, along with Anat Rafaeli, Mr. Julian Dixon, a performing artist in Sacramento Philharmonic and Opera, where he is also a senior director of community engagement and education, a faculty member in School of Music at the CSUS, and a former administrator in Verizon Wireless National who provided training for call center employees, all in one body. The Renaissance man. So please welcome Mr. Julian Dixon. And the last but not the least, Professor Anat Rafael from Israel Institute of Technology. She's a leading scholar, the leading scholar in emotional labor research and organizational behavior literature. And she's also a fellow of Association for Psychological Science, and she's our commentator today. So we'll start our session with by connecting to Israel again. Hi, Anat.
Hi, Hakan. Hi, everybody.
It's glad to see that you are still awake. That means that our films have been entertaining.
It is a challenge, I will admit.
Yes. So, Anat will provide us commentary about each film by focusing on the intriguing characters, interactions, and situations, and what kind of lessons we can draw from these about each leadership theory and discrete emotions and emotional labor. Then we'll turn to Julian and also to the audience to create a more practical discussion about what can we do to improve HR training and management system for emotional labor employees so they can perform their roles with more emotional intelligence. This is a very important question that we'll be focusing on today. So Anat, stage is yours.
Thank you, Hakan. So I guess I'll start with the first film, the filling, the dentist. I apologize, but I could not keep straight the names of the teams or the names of the movies. What I always look at is the situations that are described. And so we have, over the 4 films, we have a dentist, we have a restaurant, we have a basketball team, and we have a call center, which in my mind, that's the interesting story, is what kind of industry they're in. So if we look at the first one, the dentist, I was struck by the finance account employee, who's also the one who's depicted as very lonely. And I have to pick one specific situation that she had to encounter, which is when this young, I have to call him dude, this young guy comes in, he has a baby, he has 7 other kids, he has 7 wives, he has a $10,000 bill, and she has to handle him. And of course, right in the middle of her talking to him comes up this other customer who's very annoyed because she's been waiting for 12 minutes for her dental treatment. And I thought she was handling him very professionally and just saying, you know, I'm sorry, I'm handling another customer. But she herself is feeling as if she's incompetent. and she's unprofessional and she's going to be fired and the manager doesn't like her and so on and so forth. And I think that is so telling about the problematic situation that employees can put themselves into, and nobody on the outside quite understands why or how. Um, um, uh, uh, it was really disturbing to me, I must say, that this can go on, that she can feel so lonely. Um, and I pondered that particular meeting with that problematic customer and how HR should handle it. Is this a routine situation? Are we really saying that annoying customers are a routine part of the job? I think that's how the movie depicted it, and I do believe that's how customer service agents construe their job. But sort of as a senior person, I'm a little annoyed that we accept customer behavior, such customer behaviors, just in the spirit of empathy and support for these employees. Um, and I think what I'm saying is that the manager in this situation did a wonderful job, and empathy is the only thing to convey to an employee like that. I could definitely see another manager being annoyed and upset at how could she make such a mistake between a bill of $1,000 and $10,000 and so on. And the in contrast is depicted very nicely. I saw it in this film. She expects that he's taking her out to lunch to fire her. I don't think most managers take you out to lunch when they want to fire you, but it was nice that that's how an employee construes it. And in the contrast to that, he says that she's actually a very good employee. That's an encouraging kind of view on management. Um, Now, in terms of what we can learn from this on path goal theory, which is a theory that really says that management needs to identify what is the current goal that the employee is handling or working towards, and according to that, what should the supervisor do? What should a leader do? And I think an important message of this video is that emotional labor is one of the things that employees have to do. It's not the only thing. It's not the only task. It almost always will come along with other things, which is exactly what's so difficult about it. Because while she is handling one customer, she has to handle another customer. One customer is upset. The other customer is upset. She has no right to be upset because her job is to be nice and pleasant to all customers. This is exactly the challenge of emotional labor and exactly the challenge of managing emotional labor situations. So I congratulate the team for depicting this complexity.
I'd like to add.
Is that okay? Anything else, Hassan?
Yeah, I'd like to add in that scenario that the roles, what roles are clearly defined. She was a billing person, and now all of a sudden she's forced into a situation of handling the front desk. And that's always a challenge in my experience in call centers. Usually you don't want to put somebody in that position if you're a manager. And usually then also what happens is you get escalation of the situation to the manager. So if you're like managing that situation, then you might expect that you're going to get a lot of escalated calls, disgruntled calls from your employee if you don't prepare them and set up their clear expectations of what the role. And now I was also surprised at it being a small office. How can she be so lonely? If that intimacy of your job environment, there's always interaction. It's always interaction. I would expect maybe to convey it in that scenario. Maybe she had an office down the hall, or she was kind of somewhat separated. Maybe she could hear laughter coming down the hall instead of. So there are different ways of convening that sense of loneliness that she had. That would help maybe convey that a little bit stronger.
And along these lines, one thing that I really liked in that character was that she talks to herself and says, I'm not lonely at home. I'm not lonely when I'm with my friends. Even our neighbor's dog loves me. But I don't feel close to anyone in this environment. So workplace loneliness is very domain specific, and it's not a trait. It can just emerge. Sometimes not even necessarily because of being isolated. You just don't feel close to anyone, and all of a sudden you are lonely. And then once you get into that cycle, it's so difficult to get out, especially if you are interacting with 100 customers a day.
And I don't know if you notice the problem, that $10,000 problem with the bill, was she the problem of that bill because of the distraction, how she was thinking and caught up in her own thoughts? And he said, oh, I need you to do the $1,000 account, and she's all caught up with her own emotional distraction. But I don't know if when the customer came up to the counter and said, I'm Mr. Johnson, if he made that connection a little bit stronger, then you could relate that when you have that emotional disconnection, how it could lead to problems, how it could lead to issues. And here she is this an issue she's in the middle of that she created because she had a billing error or not? So,
I love the balance between theoretical and practical insight. So let's move on to our second film. Anat? The second
Sorry,
movie.
Hakan, I didn't hear.
This
Are we
is the
moving to
second film. We are
film?
moving to the second film. Your commentary on the second film.
Okay, I do want to comment on the first film. I do like films very much, but I'm not at all an expert on filmmaking. I am sort of an expert on employees, and I think the loneliness is something that she brings with her. And the film did a nice job depicting that by showing her walking out of the car and already complaining. Before she walks in the door, she's already complaining. We've all seen such employees. We know such employees, and they are very difficult to manage and very difficult to handle. A real challenge to a manager. Okay, moving on to the second one, the tip, I guess it's called, right? And the team is Crazy Eight. So in this case, I do remember their name. This was a really disturbing one. So Hakan asked me, is there a situation in the movie that really caught your eye? And in this case, there was. And this is when the guy faints or collapses, and the manager, who very clearly construes this guy as not somebody she really cares for, walks up to him and says, "Are you okay?" No, nobody who collapses like that is okay. I'm honestly not sure that is the right question. I think that's a very formal type of behavior on a part of a supervisor that's very alienating. And then she asks, do you need anything? And what he needs is, maybe a rest, maybe medical help, maybe support. But the guy plays along and says, what I need is training. And I think what we have here is a construal of an employee who is doing a very good job of playing the subordinate role, and this sort of, there's this term we used to teach called the organizational man. Or I guess today it would be the organizational person. It was written in the, 60s, I think. And this is an employee who totally accepts being the low person on the totem pole and taking upon him or herself everything bad that can happen. So he's asking for training in a situation where I think the whole managerial context was, to me at least, very disappointing, very inappropriate. Maybe, and I think there's a whole lot more empathy that could have been shown to this employee, but the goal was to show how he's not getting it. Now, the important point from sort of a theoretical perspective here is what's called this LMX theory, leader-member exchange theory, which is basically a theory that says leadership and leader-subordinate or supervisor-subordinate relations are a matter of exchange between two people, or a matter of a relationship between two people. And leaders and managers are people like any other people, so they're going to have people they like and people they don't like. And as an employee, you're in good shape if you're among the people your leader likes, and you're in bad shape if you're in a situation where, or in the group that the manager doesn't like. This is a very simple story. In terms of storytelling, it's a very difficult story for a subordinate and for a manager. The manager has an easy time being nice to the people he or she likes. You know, in this case, we had a supervisor who liked that waitress and spoke to her and asked her for anything she needs and gave her all the support she needs. And of course, this waitress also gets very nice tips. Um, the difficult part for the manager is when they, for the employees that they don't like. This is where emotional labor comes in for the leader. And I think that's a very interesting managerial situation and a very challenging managerial situation. I'm not sure if the film was intended to show that, but I thought it did show that and did sort of highlight it. Not to mention the customers who challenge the employees, you know, the customer giving an employee a dirty diaper and then hold the baby. You know, we have these babies coming in as a recurring story. I was wondering if babies had come to the class. When, why do we have all these babies here? I don't remember so many babies.
I can give you the background. So they were about to, because one of our students actually gave birth to a baby while she was taking this class.
There you go.
So that set the tone for the whole
That
semester.
was exactly my guess. It was very salient, these babies and what they demand. And it's an excellent example of how people, when they are customers, cross boundaries that nobody else would cross. You know, if you have a dirty diaper, you find a way to dispose of it without giving it to a total stranger who's doing your job, who's serving other people food, who's serving your own food, and so on. I don't know how frequent this occurrence is, but I do know that customers do really odd.
I think I can actually, I'd like to help with this for a moment. Let's take a moment and just frame this exercise. So I am not here, it's not on or it is, I'm so loud anyway. Should I even use one? All right then, if you insist. So I'd like to just take a moment and just frame the task at hand. First of all, I want to congratulate the filmmakers. As many of you know, Professor said, I work with them just from a creative standpoint. These guys are working with almost no technical support. They are not filmmakers. They are in the business college. They come to these projects with so much creativity. Professor Uschelik creates an environment that turns all of these business students into incredible storytellers. And their use of humor, which is encouraged by the professor, I think is the key. And so these extreme situations are not, as you cited, the babies. And I was taking, by the way, I haven't been texting. If any of you were wondering, I've been taking notes with my phone. The baby, the diaper, the narration, the problem solving with a scoreboard that the basketball team needed to depict several basketball games, wins, loses. They don't have a budget to stage basketball games and crowd scenes. They use that scoreboard. That was a stroke of brilliance. That's what we call production value in what I do. And they've solved all kinds of problems. The bathroom meeting, we're going to get to that in a moment, but the meeting in the bathroom was a stroke of genius. Now, again, some of us may say that's an extreme situation. They took it very far, but that's the point. That was their task at hand. So we need to all embrace their.
I do not disagree for a minute.
Yes, yes. Was that a yes? Was that a yay or a nay?
That was a total yay.
Awesome.
That was exactly my point.
So I just want to say we're not here to critique their filmmaking. What we're here to do, and what I do not do on these days, is address the theory. And that is what the professor has done so well, is empower these people to take theory, which can be very dry and difficult to digest. They turn it into story. And I have to tell you, I wish you could see their sessions. Visiting them in class, the reason I've done this for 9 years is these groups sit together. They are filled with laughter and joy. They honor each other's ideas. They give. They listen. They elevate each other's ideas. They elevate each other's roles. Everyone volunteers wholeheartedly. They are incredible. They do all this extra time outside of class together as a team to make these things happen, getting these locations. I mean, it's a huge task. And they are hilarious. The ideas you don't get to see, I wish you could have been at the table. They're they've got 100 ideas for every 2 funny ideas that you saw up there. And that humor is not to be taken lightly. As an actor and also I have a production company, I often interface with HR issues, and most of that is don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Or when people come into a corporate environment or any kind of administrative, I was speaking with Megan about this earlier. A lot of time is spent with don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. That's what the rules are. But this sense of joy that they bring to these collaborations, that's what the professor's work focuses on with his work in anger, loneliness, how to bring joy and connectivity into the workplace, and his work that has highlighted, forgive me if I misspeak and you'll all correct me, that actually creates productivity in the workplace. And that's what I've enjoyed about his work so
From
well.
a pedagogical standpoint, what we are doing is we are reverse engineering the theories, because Anand would agree that our theories in papers and articles look so beautiful, so clean. These boxes and arrows, and yet we draw these pictures and test them in such dirty and juicy environments. We go out to the organizations, we get our data, we analyze data, and then we draw these models. So what we are doing in these projects is that we lend these theories back to our students and unpack them and get the juice out of it. And how do they translate into different settings, including emotional labor, and use some humor also, because humor is part of our lives. I mean, those who do not see humor in their lives should take a better look at their lives, because humor should be everywhere. And our students actually has done a brilliant job in that.
I had a question about this one with the fatigue to excitement. Sometimes that fatigue's from the lack of sleep. I know they're challenged by having this one scenario in the day. It seemed like, and I was saying, how do you, to your point, how do you capture several days? Because I know I've had employees that were so worried and fatigued from being isolated that they would come into work fatigued because they weren't sleeping because of the anxiety they had going into the work environment. And so that built up over day, they're showing it late. And
I'm sure you would have
the
some
short answer to that is
yeah.
that in these stories, we just want to go ahead and endow the story. We accept the condition that we see in the characters, because these guys are working really hard just to illustrate the theory. So don't worry about like, oh, would a guy bring a baby and would she hand off the diaper? That is the fun part. That is what they were encouraged to do. They took everything to 100. They didn't stop at 20.
It was almost a dream
and that's
sequence.
what makes them fun to watch. Yeah.
Almost teetering on
So we can celebrate that, and I am so enjoying hearing your identification of the theory within these incredibly, what I think are hilarious films. Great
now
job, guys.
Let's move to our third film, Anat. Third film project.
Third film project, For the Love of the Game. So this is an interesting context, and I suppose it's one that in terms of our theories fits the idea of emotional labor and so on, but it's not a straightforward one, because most of the work on emotional labor has gone toward customer service, and in this case it's a coach to the basketball players or the basketball team. I thought I was a little confused by this one, to be honest. The goal that the team received was to talk about transformational leadership, where a leader works with a team to identify this is a theory that talks about the need to change things from a bad situation to a good situation, things like a vision to guide the change and so on. They clearly start off with a really annoying coach, a really annoying leader or supervisor. And he's really annoying because he's constantly angry. Now, I've studied anger extensively in my research, and I don't like anger. It's not that it's my favorite, but that doesn't mean that anger is always bad. And I think that what's clear in this video is that anger is bad when that's the only thing there is, as opposed to some anger, which can be useful. What we have here is a transformation of the team through a change from one leader to another. So the new leader comes in and he's about, we're going to win the game and we're going to have fun. And I was thinking, well, how are we going to win the game? I mean, to win the game, don't we need to do something else? Now, back to the bad coach, the angry coach, when the woman who wants to leave the team comes in quite early in the video, and he starts yelling at her, I was impressed at how polite she is. I thought, she says, "Did you say something?" He's just yelled his head off, and "Did you say something?" This is another kind of an extreme example, I thought, back to the comment that you were making about how you make movies. And I think the point there that is made is that employees can be professional even when they have bad leaders. That's a nice point. And they can maintain the professional behavior. And what happens when the new coach comes in is that professional behavior turns into successful behavior. Still, I would think in order for that leader to be transformational, he needed to do something more, tell them, some more ideas about how you play a game, how you play together as a team, how you practice. Um, I, I was missing something there, and I think it's something that's theoretically important, which is why I'm pointing it out, not because I'm criticizing the film, but rather because I want to make sure that the theory comes across. And this is something about a vision includes clear specifications, ideas, suggestions for here is what we need to do different from what we did before.
And by the way, you are welcome to criticize any of the projects because just like student papers, none of the project is perfect. So students would appreciate your comments in either direction. Yeah. Okay, now any comments about the third film, Julian? Practical insights?
Well, like you said, anger, especially in the music profession, there's a lot of pedagogy where it could be the fear of God is put into the student to drive them, or versus someone that's very more mimical, and nurturing. And if that sometimes people respond to that anger, but usually if they understand what's driving it, if it's if that. That anger is motivating him, and it's been successful for that instructor, for that leader. And he says, because I believe in you. I'm so angry because I see your potential. I'm angry because you could be doing better. And
it's very frequently in performance arts, in sports. It's just that it didn't work for this team. Yeah. Because there are some coaches that make their careers on that anger, emotional labor, or strategic use of anger. But in that team, it just didn't work.
Would like to highlight that where are you, team? Basketball team in the air? Yeah. I thought you did a great job of including in the script moments where the characters spoke out loud for us, so we understood in the narrative that the team was actually quite qualified, that they were playing at their peak performance, that they were skillful in their private scene. They communicated that to each other, and in communicating that to each other, I felt, just from a storytelling standpoint, that they eliminated some of these issues or concerns in the storytelling. So again, we were allowed through their narrative that they provided us, well done, to assume it's not the players, it's this guy. That's basically what they told us in the script. By adding that scene where the players sit alone and talk to each other about how skillful they are, they highlighted in the storytelling that this guy's the problem, it's not us. So I just wanted to sort of highlight that. Well done.
And I think that translates into also corporate life. Sometimes you got this new CEO coming in to a perfectly performing group of employees, and they bring their own style. And then the employees have to adjust to that at the top of the heavy work that they are doing anyways. So strategic use of emotions is an important executive function that
yeah, and he was terrible.
That affects the environment.
You were terrible. It was fabulous.
And he's such a sweet guy. Like, I couldn't believe seeing him in that angry. He's this beautiful smile on his face. Okay, moving to our fourth film, Anat.
Wait. Let me just go back. I like the way you construed it, the storytelling. And to be honest, I hadn't picked that up. I think what you're saying is that in this case, the supervisor or leader or whatever, that coach, is damaging a team that's very good. And I hadn't picked that up. And you're saying by taking away the coach and bringing in a coach who's just letting them play and have fun, no more is needed for them to be successful as a team and to win.
Yes.
In their story.
That's
That is
correct.
how I felt that they.
That is how you construe the story. Okay, that's a nice story. That's a nice story. Okay.
You owe a lunch to Elizabeth after this, okay? Okay, fourth film, Anat.
Fourth film, not third.
Fourth. Yeah.
Yeah, number 4. So, and this is the new employee in the call center. And we've all, I think, I don't know if all, I've studied call centers. I've spent a lot of time in call centers. And oddly enough, I was contemplating with my students whether I'm going to share this with you, but I am going to share this with you. More than anything else, this movie reminded me of my own life as a professor, and this sort of annoying employee reminded me of annoying students that I've had over the years. My students said, you have to share it with them because it's so real. And, you know, every once in a while you have somebody like that who really wants to do a good job, but they're so anxious about that new job that they keep pestering you and they keep showing up at your door and during your lunchtime and when you go to the bathroom and they meet you in the stairs and they just forgot this one time, but that one time repeats over and over and over again. And you're totally, as a professor and as a supervisor, as the movie shows very nicely, you feel like, you know, take the keys, let me get out of here. I don't want to do this anymore, which is what happened. And of course, the manager does a nice job of helping him. I'm not sure that my dean would do such a nice job if I would go and say, you know, I have this really problematic student. He'd probably say, well, Anat, that's tough. You know, that's the way it is. Just go and solve your own problem. Maybe your dean is different, Hakan. I'm not sure. I thought that this was one where I had an easy time identifying with the key character and with the challenges that he had to face, and I thought he displayed an immense amount of emotional labor in going and apologizing to the employee. Now, whether that's appropriate or inappropriate leadership is not the question. The question is whether this is authentic leadership, because that's the theory that these students were trying to convey. And authentic leadership emphasizes legitimacy through an honest relationship. And would I be honest? Am I honest with students who act like that? Well, at some point I'd say I probably am. Initially not, but at some point I break down and I say, you know, I can't take this anymore. I had a student come into class with a pizza, big pizza. And I said, oh, this is nice. You brought pizza for everybody? And he said, no. I was just hungry, so I brought pizza and I'm going to eat it during class. What do you do as a professor? And I think that's, you know, similar to this guy, although this guy was annoying in doing his work, which is more of a challenge. How you handle that, I'm not sure. Do you resign over such an employee? I am absolutely sure you shouldn't. And so I applaud the way the story unfolds, where the manager backs him up and says, I really believe in you, and I'm sure you could do a good job.
I actually had my story in a
call center
situation, super needy person, and the challenge was, all right, well, this training. First of all, if they're constantly coming up to you, did they respond to the training well? And if it's not a training issue, then is it an imbalance issue with that individual? And this person kept coming and escalating calls, and the challenge that was really tricky about this was, fortunately, I would convey that to my supervisor, and because then at one point the person was misreading everything and almost became a harassment issue. I said, whoa, where did that come out? Because they're in their own world and just kind of coming back and forth. But it came to a point where how I best handled it was I had to try and hold up the mirror and say, is this the right job for you? Are you in the right position? If you're not handling this, you're always upset about the emotion coming from the customers, and you're not in the right setting, maybe this isn't the right place, and you should look forward. And it's helping them, so kind of flipping on turning the situation on them. But I was that middle manager, and it could have escalated and gone a whole different way. So it's those people that keep nagging at you. You can't just, that irritation, you could easily snap and set a whole different direction of issues. So.
Now I'm gonna move to a Q&A session because I want to get a few questions from the audience also in the next 5 or 6 minutes. So, and I'll be rotating, I'll be just walking around. You got the technology, so you got to use it. And Anat will be looking at you because the camera will be directly looking at you as you are asking a question. So we want to get a few questions from the audience. I'm the Donahue right now. Okay, let's start from here.
Hi. Sorry, excuse me. Thank you everyone for being here today, and thank you, Professor. We reviewed a lot of different professions in our film today, and we were wondering if there's emotional labor present in one profession more than the other, if you've experienced that in your whole time.
Anat, did you hear the question?
Yes. Is there emotional labor present in one profession or several professions more than in other professions? Is the question? Is that correct?
That is the question. It's for you, Anat, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, that's the question. Yes, we are reversing mics. Okay, yeah.
It's a good question. It's an interesting question, and it's an interesting dilemma. And actually, Khan and I were on a session together in a conference we had a few months ago, where we got into a heated debate among there were 5 or 6 of us who study emotional labor, and the debate was. Can there be emotional labor when there is no customers around? And can there be emotional labor when there is no work around, meaning when you are doing something that's not your work? And I'm of the belief that there don't have to be customers around. Now, I gave the example of a professor and students. You could argue students are customers, but I don't think of them as customers at all. I think they are, prodigies or something like that. I will tell you that when I started working on emotional labor, which was many, many years ago, I was at Stanford at the time, and I worked with this other professor there, Bob Sutton, and I remember talking to our dean, and this was in the School of Engineering at Stanford. The dean was a professor of mechanical engineering, and we described our work to him, and he said, that's exactly me around budget time. When budget time comes around and everybody wants my money, I have to put on a face as if I'm nice and pleasant to everybody, and I'm not going to convey who I like more and who I like less, and what I think is more important and what I think is less important. I'm going to make that decision without letting other people know. And that's exactly emotional labor. So I do think emotional labor is all over the place. I think it is most challenging in a case where you have low power, which is the case of customer service, because the customer is always right and so on, positions the employee as having to put on a facade of I am pleasant and so on, which is why we say, and there's most research on emotional labor in customer service. Another context that has a lot of it is the health delivery, healthcare, nurses, physicians, social workers, and so on. And that's similar in the sense of a lot of the customer and power kind of relation.
In an article I recently published, I did look at that in office space among the employees, and I did find that there's a lot of emotional labor, surface acting happening among the employees for different reasons. If the environment is political, if there's so much self-monitoring going on, if you do not fit into the work environment, then you start acting. So some organizations' cultures just create those stages where everybody has to act because they don't feel secure at all. So I would argue some organizations where you don't actually interact with customers at all, you might be spending your whole day acting if you don't trust anyone around you. So it's a big phenomenon.
I would like to state the obvious as well, which is coming from outside of this discipline or not, is that all storytelling is based on a bunch of people doing some heavy emotional labor. So this kind of thing, I immediately think of the family environment. I think of the holidays. I think of, any environment in which we have to interact together and work as a team. It means there are expectations. We have expectations of others. They have expectations of us. Those expectations are not being met, and that's where we have conflict, and every story is about that. So every story that we enjoy, whether it's a novel, a film, or a piece of music, or any piece of writing, really, it doesn't matter if it's set in the family, at the home, at the holidays, or perhaps the work environment. Those conflicts between human beings, those are universal, of course. And I think that's so fabulous about what your work is doing, is importing that, some of that language and those insights from the personal arena into the professional environment, because for many years, people wanted to pretend that the professional environment was insulated from that kind of conflict, and of course it's not.
Yeah, we find exactly the opposite. And regarding family, I think in family it's not surface acting, it's deep acting. It's the acting of your life. You act to explore yourself, who you are as a parent, right? Am I right, Kutay? Okay. One more question. Yes.
Thank you. This is a question for Anat. In mentor-mentee relationships in the workplace, have you noticed a change over time in the mentee's ability to authentically express his gratitude for the mentor?
Do we notice a change in the mentee's ability to express his or her emotions to the mentor, is what you're asking?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's absolutely something that we notice occurs. I can't say that it occurs, it always occurs every time. It very much depends on the type of mentorship and the extent to which the mentorship is authentic. And this is where authentic leadership would come in. And maybe the other theories that we saw in the movies as well. If you have a leader who's authentic and is open to multiple types of emotions, you're going to see a change in towards more authenticity and more honesty and more openness on the part of mentees. But we also have mentors who keep a very formal role. And in that situation, everything's going to stay formal. The more formality you have, the more emotional labor you have, and the less authentic, genuine expressions you're going to have.
One last question before we move on to the award ceremony, because I know there's a excitement in the room. Okay. Okay, you gotta
be Donahue there.
Okay.
I'm Hakan Özçelik's son, and I'm gonna ask if, do you think emotional labor can be taken further than the people, the employees? Like, can it be taken to the level where the customers have emotional labor because of something that's because of the employees, or maybe something else?
So you mean customers doing emotional labor to the employees?
Yeah, just in general, customers like having emotional labor.
Especially if it's a high status job, right? If you are talking with your child's teacher, you have to do a lot of emotional labor as a parent. So yeah, but I want to turn to Anat again. So what are your insights about it? I never thought about that.
Well, I think when we talk about, I think the answer to that is an absolute yes, meaning customers play around with the emotions they display all the time. We just don't call it emotional labor. We call it other things, putting on a show. We call it being manipulative. We call it trying to influence and so on. But what it really is a labor on the emotions that customers display. So we spoke about anger earlier, and customers use anger because when they think that it will get them ahead, just like supervisors use anger when they think it'll get more work done. And that's a case of emotional labor. At other times, customer conceal their anger because they feel it might hurt them. And again, that's emotional labor. So yes, absolutely. Everybody plays emotional labor all the time, just like was said earlier. In the family, we see it in relations in schools, we see it in parents' relations with children's teacher, we see it. So it's it's very much a part of human life. In fact, one of the interesting studies that have been done, or two interesting studies that have been done, one was about river rafting. This is a rather old study, and you guys are in California, and it was done in, the great California rivers where you can do river rafting. And what the study showed is that the people who are the guides of the rafting basically develop in the customers aboard the raft the ability to express emotions that would be helpful to make the trip feel fun. What happens when you go river rafting is you get wet and you get hurt and it's windy and you're cold and it's not really a very pleasant experience. But if we manufacture fun, then we begin to express fun. So customers in this case were paying money in order to engage in emotional labor, if you will. So
Okay,
please
let's
go
give a
ahead.
big hand to Anat Rafaeli.
Thank you guys. Great job with these movies. Fun. Very
And
much
let's give a big hand to Mr. Julian Dixon for his great insights. You can stay here.
Okay, cool.
And let's invite Miss Elizabeth Nanziado. Now we are moving to the Oscar team, but also, as she's holding it, now I would like to invite our Dean, William Cordero, to make some remarks, and then we will announce the winner after that, and then we'll give the award to the winning team and celebrate.
You have a drum roll?
Thank you, Akan. So this event, I made some notes, represents to me the best of the culture of Sacramento State, because it involves all four elements of our culture. First is the students. Obviously, the students are dedicated and talented, and all of us are here for the students. The priority of the president all the way down to the administration and the faculty are the students. Secondly, of course, is the faculty. This project wouldn't have happened without Akan and his colleagues. The faculty here are dedicated to the students. They go beyond the ordinary and produce extraordinary results. And the third element of our culture is the staff. You've seen some of the staff listed. These things don't happen without the staff, the technical staff, the administrative staff. And then finally, the community. The community is represented here by Elizabeth and Anat, all the way from Israel. Julian's part of the faculty. But the community, I always say this, that our students come from the community and they go back to the community. So without community support, really nothing happens. Our priority is the students, but the students are supported by the community and all the people that surround our university. So I was thinking, just watching all of this, that these four elements of our culture are incredibly well represented in this event today. So I congratulate all of you who have participated, and thank you all of you who have helped our students. Now we're going to have a winner here. Is that right? We're going to have a prize?
That's right.
Yeah.
Would you like to?
So I get the honor to announce this, I
Yes,
think.
absolutely.
Where is it? Which one?
So this would be, I have no idea. Oh, best film.
Best
Fantastic.
film, The Newbie. Team of emotional undergrads. Come on up here.
Come on up here, team, and do your photo op. Congratulations, guys.
The emotional undergrads, Newbie, Anna Maria Andrews,
Great job.
Ali, Sarah, Jason, Marisa, Alejandro, and Brian. Here's the trophy. Enjoy as much as you can. I would like to invite all the students to stage so that we can have a group picture all together. And to our audience, thank you for being with us, and thanks to our jury members, to everybody. See you next year in the 10th annual CBA Film Festival.
Yeah.
And students, please come on stage so we take a picture together.